Hi everybody! I want to spend just a few minutes talking about some of the common concerns that were expressed the past couple weeks in our class. The first one is that ongoing discussion that we're having between literary and genre fiction. One of the things that I just want to express is you can have genre fiction that has elements of literary fiction in it, and you can have literary fiction that has elements of genre fiction in it. And what you prefer is what you prefer. It's not a deal breaker. We kind of see that with that short story we read, Refresh, where we have the boys dealing with the absence of their father, and that anger, that conflict is what drives the story. Through the whole story, they're processing their reaction to their absent fathers. It's not a plot-driven story, it's a character-driven story. However, there are elements of genre fiction in it, right? When the boys go to scare their high school bully, that's very, I wouldn't say the word unrealistic because I could see it happening, but it's very genre, it's a little campy, and that whole moment was kind of plot-driven. But overall, the story is pushed forward because of their anger, and that's what they're trying to resolve. For example, in genre fiction, or for another example, in those trashy romance novels that I like so much, they're very plot-driven. The whole point of that story is for these two people to meet, have some conflict, fall in love, and have that guaranteed happily ever after. There is character development, sure. The characters grow, because otherwise why are we going to read a whole bunch of flat characters, right? But the drive, the moving forward, the momentum is that plot. And that's the primary difference between genre and literary fiction. What we tend to like is a personal preference, and it doesn't make one better or one worse. Another question that I get is, why am I taking a literary fiction class if I'm a genre fiction writer? And I asked that same exact question because I went into my writing career thinking that all I was going to do was write trashy romance novels. And I do, but it's not what I get published. I get literary fiction published. And I'm not saying that at the end of this class that you're going to dive into the world of literary short fiction and that's what you love. But there is an inherent value in learning character-focused and character-driven writing. You will be able to apply what you learn in this class to making your genre fiction that much more better, I teach English, that much more complex, that much more believable. In our character-driven literary fiction, we want the character to drive the story. So maybe we have a moment of anger or a moment of insight. Or as with the story with the boys, you're working through an emotion. So don't dismiss the value that literary fiction will have on you genre writers. Let's focus on how we can use these skills to improve our genre writing. With literary fiction, again, we want to have it to be character driven. So I want you guys to think about your characters that you're getting to know really well this past week. And it can be a moment, it can be a week, it can even be a year. But make sure that whatever is the driving force is something that has to do with that character. Typically it's internal conflict. It doesn't mean it has to be, but typically it is internal conflict. For example, the story that I'm sharing bits and pieces of with Mavis going into that bar, she is meeting an ex-lover, and she's a recovering alcoholic. So that nervousness, that moment of being back into a bar, where as a recovering alcoholic she's going to have conflict with, and two, meeting her ex-lover, she's got a lot of personal conflict that's driving the story. And of course it's just an example. So I don't want you to stress too much about the difference between genre and literary fiction. I want you to focus on your characters at this point. Let's get to know them. Let's put them in their places. That's what we're going to be talking about this week. Get them observing, get them describing in detail what's happening to them, and keep in the back of your head that we want them to drive the story. We don't want the story to drive them. Okay, you guys got this. It's going to be an amazing term, and I am so excited to be reading your character sketches this week, and you've done great with that whole mock workshop. So if you have any questions on this idea of literary fiction, genre fiction, character development, just let me know. You can text, chat, call, get on the discussion boards. whatever you want to do so that we can communicate and help you find your success. And on that note, in the discussion forum, I do have weekly prompts that I encourage you guys to use. They're optional. You don't have to, but they tie in to what we are discussing in any given week. And maybe that'll be another way for us to really kind of get to know our story and talk and support each other as we work through this class. So like I said, it's going to be an amazing term. Hang in there. You guys got this. If you have any questions, let me know.